Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Sean Mott. If you don't know who I am a booking agent and I run a podcast called Metalcore Nerds. It's usually focused on nerd stuff or metalcore in general. But Kendrick asked me the other day if he could come on and talk about Black Lives Matter and what's going on right now. And at first, honestly, I said I don't know if it would fit with the show. And yesterday I realized I was wrong to say that it didn't fit the show because it's an important thing to talk about and an important thing to learn about. And I'm really glad he did ask me, and I'm really glad I thought about it and decided to do this and give him a platform to talk about what's going on and what he's feeling and what we can do to help and make things better and end police brutality and racism as a whole, and how we can move forward together unified rather than divided. What I've seen in at least in the music industry space has been very, very cool for the majority of everything. Everyone trying to spread the word, trying to help donate money, come up with merch ideas to raise money as well. Just the unity I've seen with everyone has been very inspiring, and it makes me have hope to see what change can actually come from this. But I guess I said when I said it didn't fit the show, it's the show is usually kind of I created it to be an escape and for people in the music industry who were affected by the pandemic, and obviously I was infected by the pandemic. But I guess fit the show is the wrong words to say. I guess I didn't think it was my place to talk about it, but it is Kendrick's place to talk about it. So I'm glad he reached out to me and wanted to do this. So again, just waiting for him to finish up work and join back in, and then we'll add him in and get rolling officially. Hi Joel, thanks for tuning in. If anyone is local to the upstate New York area, there is a rally in Syracuse, New York at 1. You can find details by going to Black Lives Matter Syracuse. There's also a rally in Rome Saturday night, and I believe there's a rally in Westmoreland Saturday afternoon as well. Also, there's links in all of the Metalcore Nerds Instagram and Twitter bios, and my Instagram and Twitter bios for resources to help the Black Lives Matter movement. There's petitions to sign, places to donate, and also resources where you can just educate yourself and learn a little bit more of how to help. And I believe there's one tomorrow in Binghamton or Elmira as well. Oh, Kendrick's in. Gonna add in Kendrick. Hey Kendrick, what's up, man?
What is going on? Okay, whatever.
We are live, so the floor is yours. I started with you hitting me up and how this happened and where they can find some resources. I have a link in my bio. But yeah, the floor is yours.
So first off, hello everybody. Thank you for tuning in with Sean and I. First off, shout out Metalcore Nerds. You know, Sean does a pretty sick podcast. He's got some pretty dope ass people going on. What is it? It's like every week, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of put it on pause for now, but yeah, usually every week.
All right. So yeah, everybody, make sure you tune in. You know, they got people talking about wrestling, Pokemon, old school metalcore, new school metalcore, all sorts of dope ass shit that I know that there's everybody will enjoy.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
All right. So what do you want to? You're fine, man. What do you want to touch on first?
So I remember we had those 4 points. If you could do me a solid and
of course,
bring them up too many, just because I'm on this app via Twitter, so
Yes.
I can't really check my DMs and be live at the same time.
Yes. So you wanted to talk about emotional point of views, protests versus riots, firsthand police brutality, and what could be done in the short and long term.
Okay, word. So, coming from an emotional standpoint, I understand. I know that when it comes to most people in the music scene, like when it comes to our friends, like you or mutual friends, like our manager Jonathan King, Daniel DeFont, people like Mike Zimmer, like that just are known throughout the entire heavy alternative music scene. Being not racist is it's like drinking fucking water. It's easy to have friends of every race, every color, every creed, and not think of them as a different. Because we're all not shitty people for the most part. I can't speak for everybody, but for the most part, we're all not shitty people because at the end of the day, like we're all here doing the same shit. But the thing that doesn't go, the thing that's unspoken with everyone is, truly how everybody feels deep down to the core. I had this talk with my drummer about 2 weeks ago, ironically before all this stuff started. So his viewpoint on everything that's going on has actually changed since we had this conversation. But the week that Ahmaud Arbery was killed in Georgia, I went into just this deep depression because I was just like, it was more than just like how can these two men just kill a guy for no reason, or whether he was fucking looking at a place or whether he fucking stole something or whatever. Like, how can these two men just fucking hunt this man down and just shotgun him in the middle of the street? Like, it made me sick, not just because a human life was lost, but because the fact that we're still being wildly mistreated from the color of our skin. And that's insane. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have fucking cars that run with no motors, but motherfuckers still have to wake up and think, oh man, hopefully I don't fucking die today. Hopefully my mom or dad or my siblings don't get the call saying that like some racist ignorant motherfucker decided to like kill me in the middle of the streets, or some cop was just a little bit too trigger happy for the day and fucking shot me, or some shit like that. And I feel like it's a really important thing for all of our non-friends of color to speak to our friends of color and just be like, hey man, like, or hey girl, or whoever, like, what, just tell me if you want to talk about it, like tell me what's going on, because this shit's heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's rough. When I see Ahmaud, when I see George, when I see Brianna, when I see Atiana, when I see Trayvon, like when I see all of them, I see myself, because that could literally be any of us.
Right.
Where none of us are invincible, because as long as we wake up with dark skin or some type of different culture than the American norm, which no offense is standard white Christian male or female or whatever, you're just automatically put in like a subcategory, and it sucks. It hurts. We wish that we can just live life and everything is equal and everything's chill. And I swear to you, like, I wish that I could go a single day without, being reminded that, I'm a black man. I just want to be a fucking, man in this country, just like everybody else. But, with everything going on, and not just with like the recent shit, it's just like with microaggressions, with like, abusive culture, with just like everything. It's just hard to not be reminded daily that we are different. You have a lot of people that say, I wish, or not I wish, but like, oh, I only see, us as humans, we're all humans, I don't see race, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, well, that's like a bullshit thing to say, because, everybody that isn't white goes through something. We go through some type of prejudice every single day, whether it's like simple as a silly black joke, or whether it's to me, getting pulled over and getting all my shit thrown out of my car because the cop suspects I'm a fucking drug dealer or a weed dealer or something. And just coming from an emotional point of view, it really hurts. it hurts down to the core seeing shit happen over and over and over again. And um, I can't speak for every person of color, but I can say that we are hurting. We're definitely hurting, and every single time a cop or a racist or somebody takes another life, especially when it comes to a person of color, with no just cause, like there's no just cause for taking life anyways, but if it's just senseless, racist, just violence, then we wake up feeling just a little bit more defeated every day. It's just like, fuck, man, like, this is still happening. And then we just have a hashtag for a week and then life goes on. But then, like, I don't forget all these names of all these people that have just been senselessly killed since the day I was born. And it hurts, man. It stings. It hurts. And, like, it's very discouraging. It's so disheartening. And, I can just, like, like, whine for hours about how I feel and stuff, but like you get the gist of what I'm saying. Basically, like it hurts. It's more than just people getting killed. It's something that we all feel deep down to the core, every single one of us.
Yeah, and like you said, it needs to be more than just a hashtag that lasts for a week. So what can we do as not people, as white people, to help, as everyone together, to help everything keep moving forward?
Accountability. That is such a huge thing. Like, obviously, you're not gonna let somebody come to my face and call me a hard R, right? Like,
right.
No, nobody's gonna do that. But it can't just stop right there. Like, it can't just be like, I'm gonna beat this guy's ass for saying a racial slur. It's got to be more than that. Like, it's like if you see, I don't want to throw any names out, but it's gonna be really obvious. Like, if you see a certain group or band or what so have you covering rap songs all the fucking time and they're blowing up and you see them profiting off of that, but they don't do anything to like give back to the Black community, which is what rappers and hip hop artists do all the time. So like, when you're a part of that community, you're supposed to give back. Like, that's just part of the culture, and you can't, like, I'm not saying you can just go in and be like, hey, if you've ever been on Punk Goes Pop, whatever fucking volume, then you got to give back. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a kind of, that's just like a super ridiculous example, but you get, like, there just has to be accountability more than just stopping people from saying racial slurs. Like, if you see somebody saying a microaggression, stop them. If you see somebody like saying something like all lives matter, like trying to, or just being genuinely confused about a situation, if you feel like you don't have a platform to say it, well, you do. As long as you have us in mind and you are, you want to help, then that is your basis right there. That's your platform. You can hold other people accountable. And then once there's at least a basic understanding with everyone, then we can finally be progressive and we can finally move forward. At least on a day-to-day standpoint with just helping each other out. Especially like social media and stuff.
And I guess the one thing that kind of seems like accountability is showing is now these big companies are starting to donate money to help Black people in the community. They're donating to organizations that are going to help, put more money in the school system, put more money into, programs that can help them thrive rather than the programs that are debilitating them. You know what I mean? So that's a cool change I have been seeing in the last couple of days. And I hope it continues. And
for sure, it has to continue.
Yeah. And another thing is, people think voting doesn't matter. And I know a lot of these things that are problematic need to be voted on in a local and state basis. So I feel like that's another very important thing that people need to research and find out, representatives in your area that are going to help make these changes and try and put them in office, and tell your friends to go out and vote. And
absolutely,
people say it doesn't matter, but it
totally matters. It absolutely matters.
Yeah.
So I guess with all this being said, we'll go ahead and jump to the fourth point, which is, what we can do to help short term and long term.
Yeah.
Other than accountability, with everything that's going on right now, there's so many, foundations and donations, and there's so many like things you can like documents and shit that you can sign. Like there's a plethora of things, and at the end of the day, none of them are wrong. It all goes back to the Black community, and it helps tremendously. Like if 1,000 people donate, $10, that's $10,000, right? I don't look like an idiot. It's $10,000.
It's money.
It's something like that helps. Money, it all helps. Overall, it helps everybody, no matter what it is. And then these huge like fucking Lego, what did they give? Like 4 million or 1 million or something like that? Like
4 million, and they stopped the production of a police set and the White House set.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
that's just
amazing.
Big ups. Hey, shout out Lego real quick. But yeah, definitely if you can, donate locally, donate to Minneapolis, donate to wherever. Now I will say this though, this will seem a little bit insensitive, but this has to be said. I would advise against donating to funds to rebuild the cities that were destroyed in the midst of looting and the rioting. And because I don't want to say that I don't care about riots, which I'll get to that later, but it's a language of the unheard. And it sucks that all of these cities had to burn, cop cars got burned and the windows got smashed. But at the end of the day, it's all just stuff, it's buildings. It will be fixed. It will be replaced. Every city has the funds, and they will use taxpayer money to fix everything that has been, destroyed in the process. So I understand that people want to go out and rebuild your local communities. Like, that's fine and all, but don't get that shit twisted with saying I'm giving back, and helping the cause by, only helping your immediate community. Again, not saying that it's not important, but that is just a little bit besides like the cause that the point that we're trying to make with that. So, donate, spread the word, spread the links. I have a link in my bio. Sean says he has a link in his bio.
Yep.
There's just, I would be shocked if you cannot find someone or something to give your money to if you're watching this podcast.
Yeah, the link in my bio has so many links. Yeah, the
big ass link trees. Like it's
you
should be overwhelmed.
Yep.
But
I was the first time I opened it.
Oh yeah, it was. I scrolled through all of them. I was like, Jesus, I gotta not be so stressed out when I'm trying to figure out where to give this money to. So that's all good short-term stuff, but let's get to long-term.
Okay, cool.
Ultimately, I personally believe this, and I can't say that I'm right or wrong about this, but me personally, I believe that the only way that we can fix this bullshit long-term is by focusing on our youth. And like I remember like being in middle school, elementary school, what have you, and just having the fucking mayor come in or whatever person of Congress coming in and telling us like, oh, what we do is important, blah blah blah, but everybody wants to be a fucking fireman or a chef or a fucking ninja or whatever unrealistic dream we had as children growing up. But education to our Black youth is important because right now systemically it's fucked. Everything is not built for us because it's a bunch of old white dudes that are calling the shots for everything. And the only way that we can have these cops that are killing people tried faster is if we had a judiciary system, if we had an entire system completely made of everybody of all colors that is made for just true equality. You know what I'm saying? Like if we had Congress full of young Black people or young Hispanic people, young Asian people, or just young white people that understand that the system is broken, then they are what is going to fix everything long term. So really what we can do is I say we put funding into public education for underfunded schools. Like there's a couple schools in South Dallas and Oak Cliff, I guess Oak Cliff, Dallas, or whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
that just have terrible, terrible, terrible funding. Like their textbooks are shitty. The school sucks. Like not even just education, the community is just bad. Like Sean, have you ever seen the difference between a public pool in the ghetto and then a swimming pool in a nice gated community?
In a way, yes. Probably not the exact extremes, but I get what you're trying to make the comparisons of. Yes, it's
Yeah. So
insane difference. Yes.
yeah, the difference is huge. And like whenever when you wake up and everything is just bad around you, like all you think is bad. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and if I just honestly believe if the education and school system and the community is better for our black youth, and then everything can be a lot better for their future.
Yeah.
And not for our immediate future, but it'll be good knowing that our kids don't have to worry about shit. You don't have to have the race talk with your kids because that shit is long gone. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So I would suggest everybody look into like, you know, I'm not saying like if you're from fucking California, just drive down to Compton and be like, yo, who needs money? But just definitely just you can go find a lot of churches definitely do they have a big hand in helping black youth. So I know people are like anti-religious or whatever, but they're definitely going out of way to make sure that these
Right.
black kids don't feel like they can only be rappers or they can only be athletes or they can only be drug dealers just to make money to get themselves out of the hood.
Yep. Yeah, I saw a number, and it was something like a police force in a state. Their yearly budget was like 180 million or something insane like that. And then I saw another figure, and it was the cost of riot gear versus the cost of like the PPE that healthcare workers need for the pandemic that's going on right now, and it's like so much cheaper. It's like criminally cheaper, but yet the police were already had all this riot gear beforehand, and then when a pandemic starts, healthcare workers don't have PPE,
Yeah,
and it's the same thing
anything.
with school systems. We're putting all this money into the police force and what the fuck ever, and then all these schools get nothing. Like, how does that make sense? Like, the schools are supposed to be the building block of the future of what's going to happen next in our country, in our communities, in our states, and you're not going to put money into it. How does that make any sense? And you're going to put money
Zero
into
sense.
police force? Like, why do they need that much money? I don't understand.
That is just it's honestly it's just the norm. It's just what's been going on for years. And it sucks to say, but it's true. Like it it just is what it is. And that's why things need to change.
Yeah. And there
And
was
it's that's
another
why I'm
there was
sorry, I was
another
saying that's why I
yeah, go
firmly
ahead.
believe that it starts with our youth.
Yeah.
It only starts with our current youth.
Yeah. There was another scary statistics I saw that police are trained 110 hours in self-defense and like gun combat and 8 hours in conflict resolution and mediation. 8 hours. You know how many hours it takes for someone to be a barber or to work in a salon? Like 2,000 hours. And you're
Absurd.
putting people out who are supposed to protect and serve. Mediation skills, you think that would be a top priority, but 8 hours. Insane. I I couldn't believe it when I read it, honestly.
It's honestly laughable. When you it's just like are you kidding
Yeah.
me? Are you joking?
But then when you read
That's
that and then you see what happens, it makes total fucking sense. Like, of course they only had 8 hours of training and they're doing shit like this. Like, it's unreal. It's disgusting. Like, how I don't get it. Exactly. Things need to change. Like, there's no if and or buts about it. Things need to change. It's it.
that yeah, they have to change. the accountability right now is non-existent.
Yeah.
It's straight up non-existent because they work for a system that doesn't give a shit about the people and really only gives a shit about them. That's everybody in the system, everybody that's in a position of power, everybody that's authority. Starting from just your local cop all the way up to our fucking stupid orange piece of shit head of state.
Yeah. 100%.
Sorry for any Trump supporters watching this, but actually, I'm not sorry.
No, if you support Trump at this point, it doesn't matter what side you're on politically. It's not about that anymore. It's just that dude is not a leader. And if you think he's a leader, I don't know how you can. I just don't. After all the shit he's done, after that speech he made and literally threatening the country with the military, how?
Oh,
just for peacefully protesting, trying to have their voice heard, trying to make some change, and military. Like, really? That's your answer? It's as he on live TV is tear gassing and firing rubber bullets at peaceful protesters, just exercising their constitutional right to do so, and just sends the military on them. Senseless, disgusting.
Well, we honestly do not have constitutional rights anymore.
No, not really. So obviously,
political, but
you had a situation that you attended a protest. I'm sure you have attended numerous protests in the past week, but you got arrested the other day, right? Tell that story and what happened.
So there's a I won't say the name of the group, but there's a group in Dallas, Texas that organizes protests and whatever.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, they were going to start at City Hall. We're gonna march outside of the protest or the curfew zone in Dallas, and it's gonna be peaceful. And we were like, okay, cool. Like, this guy knows what he's talking about. It'll be fine. So compared to all the other protests, which I'll get to later, this one seemed great. There was the speakers, there's a whole bunch of people. There was about 400 or 500 people total. He talked, and then we did a quick prayer, and then he was like, all right, let's do this. And then the streets were blocked off and everything. So I was like, wow, like I always get a little bit anxious before doing any protest, but
right.
I think my level of angst was a little bit lower, but it was still there. But I was like, whatever, like, this is fine. We have a guy leading this. Like, we have a group of people. They have like red shirts on, so I knew who the people to follow were. So we're marching down the street and everything, and we get to this three-way like intersection, and the only other way you could go was straight back the way we came or onto the bridge, which, I mind you, everything was blocked off. The streets were completely blocked off. There was no type of cars that were able to get through. So, of course, we as protesters thought, all right, we're going to cross this bridge, and we're going to go, when we get to the other side of the bridge, we will still be outside of the protest zone. So we'll just march wherever, and then it'll be fine or whatever. So we get onto the bridge, and none of the cops stopped us. None of the cops were like, hey, because, from the past couple of days, as soon as you do anything that they don't like, it's fucking tear gas central, and they're just fucking trigger happy with the stupid riot rounds. But none of that happened. So I was like, okay, it's smooth sailing. We're good. So we get about halfway through the bridge, and we see a whole line of the National Guard. Sorry, I'm blank for a second. We see a whole line of the National Guard, and there's like the cop lights and everything. So, we've been doing this fucking every day. So we get face to face, you talk your shit, and then eventually we'll turn around or, whatever. So we all kneel. We kneel down, and they start shooting the rounds and just throwing the tear gas. Which, by the way, everybody watching, that shit is not just a, quiet little smoke bomb. It's a loud explosion where you can like feel it. You can feel it in the ground. You can feel it in your bones, in your ears. are like ringing because it's so loud. It's, the closer it is to you, and that gas, it's like it's so fucking it's hot. Like your face is on fire, like your skin is burning if you don't have proper protection on. And they just throw that shit at you, like unapologetically. They're just like, hell yeah, like I'm gonna get these fuckers today with us gas. It's like it's inhumane, and none of us did anything. Like at the most, all we could have done was throw water bottles at them. They're in full riot gear, you know. Like what's a fucking water bottle gonna do to you?
Right.
But they had no problem throwing this, and you know, there's kids like 14, 15-year-old kids, and then people of all races there. So everyone's getting attacked yet again. This girl she got fucked up pretty good with one of those riot rounds. So I'm with Orlando Mendoza, and I don't know if any of y'all know Orlando, but he's
Yep.
very, very chill, very soft spoken or whatever. Not soft spoken, but you know, he's not a troublemaker by any means. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, Orlando, I feel like shit's gonna get real. Let's turn around and try to avoid this this confrontation, because I just couldn't help but feel. I know it was his choice to come with me, but I couldn't help but feel guilty. Mike and another friend was with ours too, but we got separated. But I would have felt guilty if my friends got hurt in the process. So I was like, let's turn around and just kind of regroup and figure out what we're gonna do. So we turn around, and there is another line of police where they basically escorted us onto the bridge. They had blocked us onto the bridge, and both lines were like closing up, blocking us in. So I had a Admiral Akbar moment. I was like, "It's a trap!" I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like I looked at Orlando. I was like, "Hey, we're probably gonna get arrested."
Right.
So it was so fucked. So they were just closing in on us. I was panicking. We were like 50 feet in the air in the middle of this bridge. So like, it was literally either get arrested or die. Like I'm not joking. You had no choice. Like you could maybe risk it and jump to the other side of the bridge and run past a whole militia of cops somehow. But like that, a couple people maybe got away doing that. But like, you know, there was hundreds of us. There's no way we could have officially done that to get away. Plus,
Right.
once we start running from the cops, then we're all definitely gonna get arrested. But they circled us or whatever, and they were like everybody needs to get on the ground. So we all complied. We all laid on the ground, and then they started zip tying, handcuffing people, and they were like, "You're all being arrested." And I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" So I called my mother, and I texted my band, and I posted on my social medias, and I said, "Hey, we're all getting arrested. Donate to bail funds immediately, so you know everyone can get out." But half the protesters started standing up because they're like, "No, like we're fighting back and whatever." And they were telling Orlando and I and the other protesters are like, "Get up, get off the ground, get up." And I started to get up, and this National Guard guy, aimed his gun directly at me. He was like, "Get the fuck on the ground!" And I was like, "Shit, man. Okay, chill out." So got back on the ground, uh, got zip tie, handcuffed, and fucking wasted all of our time. We were just on that bridge for 4 hours. They didn't do anything. There was
4
no
hours.
charges. 4 hours. I was so pissed, Sean. Like it was the biggest waste of time. They literally could have just made us turn around and we would have dipped. Like,
Right.
but instead they detained 400 to 500 people on a bridge. Um, and let me tell you, they left all the trash. All they didn't let anybody take their signs. They made us empty out of our bags, our water bottles, everything. So the bridge was a fucking wreck. And you know, I don't know who's gonna clean that. So, you know, fuck Dallas for that. But besides that, they just had us all just tied up, and you know, some people knew their rights, so they were like, "Why are we being detained?" And the answer for like an hour was, "I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I don't have that answer. I don't
I
know."
don't
So
know.
we're all just, "Yep, I don't know." So all we know is we're for sure being arrested, but we don't know what's gonna happen. And we're like, "Where are we going? Are we going to the I think it's called like Loose Garrett or something like that." but it's a really, really, really shitty jail in Dallas, and like that's like the place where no one wants to go. But the cops are saying like, yeah, I think that's where everybody's going tonight, and I'm just like, man, this is such a waste of time. Like, you're literally going to take the time to put 400 people in jail. I'm like, there's 400 of us, and like, it was insane. Like the National Guard was there, the state troopers were there, every single cop in DFW was there, the fucking FBI was there. Like, it was absurd. It was excessive, and it was just unneeded. And the fact that they just trapped us like that was just it was ridiculous. And it's like, even though they knew the position that they had us in, they still decided to like shoot and gas everybody.
Right.
Was beyond me.
You guys are
That
already
that was when
trapped.
I, yeah, exactly. We were trapped as fuck. I was like, we can't go anywhere. Like, we're either just gonna jump off this bridge and die. So, and I'm pretty sure nobody wants to do that. So,
Right.
but a story about that, while I was on that bridge though, that I was definitely gonna share during this stream. Um, Eventually they separated. Oh, funny story, real quick before I say that, just
Okay.
for some comic relief. I was handcuffed next to this guy, and we were just like, I was like, fuck it. I was like, hey man, what's your name? And he's like, oh, my name is such and such. He's like, I have actually seen you at a couple shows before, and I was like, oh, okay, word. I was like, yeah, I thought you looked kind of familiar, and we were just chatting it up. And this dude, 4 or 5 people down, pokes his head out. He goes, hey guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but I used to love Even Cameras Live, which was my band back in like high school. And I was like, you have to be absolutely fucking kidding me. I'm like, I'm being arrested right now. This is the last thing I want to talk about. So that was just kind of insult to injury at that moment in time. I couldn't believe that shit. But yeah, after that, we everyone was separated, like guys on one side of the bridge, girls on the other side, and I was with three young black kids. One was 20 and the other two were 19. And one of the 19-year-olds, he was heated. He was mad. He was talking all this shit. He's trying to buck at the cops and stuff. And he was just like, oh man, he was mouthing off. They were all mouthing off. And I was just kind of, I was standing next to them. So I was like, whatever. But then eventually, one of them started to chill out. And I can't remember his name. I asked him, or maybe I didn't ask him, but I wish I knew it. But he started to calm down. It was a lot less cussing, and he was like, you know what? When this is done, I'm gonna hit these books. I'm gonna get off these streets. I'm gonna get a job so I can internally fire all of you motherfuckers because this is bullshit. And I was like,
Wow.
damn. I'm like, that's some real shit. And this is a kid from Oak Cliff, which is like, that's like the hood. Um, and he was just saying stuff like that. Like, it went from just anger to like intellectual anger, not trying to discredit like, a black kid from the hood but being intellectual, but it's like that's just the last thing you think you would hear from somebody when 400 people are being detained. But
Right.
then what he said after that, Sean, it definitely changed my life. And I've told a couple people this because this was the most insane thing and just most like um I've been working all day. Words don't make sense sometimes. This is the most inspiring thing that I've heard in a while. So he stopped this black cop, this younger black cop, and he was like, how do you feel about everything that's going on right now? And the cop took the time. He took a good 30, 40 minutes to talk to these kids. He was telling them, was like, I grew up in the hood too, blah, 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 this and that. Like, I had to do this, I had to do that, I had the other. And everybody was just tuning into what he was saying. And then he was listening to all these kids, what they were having to say back to him. And then after they were done talking, we got moved again. But that cop was still there, and we were joined by other cops. And he's like, man, I want to tell you guys something. He's like, this man right here, and this is the kid talking to all the cops. He goes, this man right here, this is a good person. And he's like, you, ma'am, you're a good lady. You, sir, you're a good guy. All of you, you're good people. I know you're good people. And he's like, and I love you because I love people. And he's like, and I know you don't have a bad bone in your body. He's like, I know what you're doing. You have to do what you have to do so you can go to a home. so you can eat, so you can pay bills, so you can make sure you have a roof and make sure you have lights, so you can make sure you have heat or AC or whatever it is. You're doing what you got to do to make sure you get by. I can respect that. I can respect the hustle because that's all we do every day. But when I say fuck 12, when I say ACAB, when I say 1312 or whatever, I'm talking about you in that uniform. I'm talking about you with that badge. I'm talking about you with that gun, you with the baton, you with whatever. Because as soon as you put on that police outfit, you are essentially giving up your humanity and you are voluntarily putting yourself in a higher position of power.
Yep.
And even if you don't abuse that power of being a police officer, you still have it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
you can get away with anything, which ultimately doesn't make it any better.
Yep.
And he was like, I hate you guys in your uniform. It's fuck y'all right now in your uniform. But I know under it, you're good people. And I was like, oh my God. This is a 19-year-old kid from Oak Cliff. His dad, him and his dad were beat up by cops at a traffic stop. His best friend was killed by a cop. He got caught up in some shit, but he didn't deserve to die. His grandfather had a rifle or a shotgun or something on his porch and got the authorities called on him. And ultimately, they ended up shooting his grandpa and just unjustly killing him. And for him, for a 19-year-old kid to grow up in the hood, to where the norm is fuck 12, fuck police, fuck all cops, fuck those pigs, he's still able to separate their job from them as people. And he still knows that what he has to do is hit the books and become a part of Congress or a part of the system to change it internally to actually make things better. And hearing that from a 19-year-old kid from the Grove changed my fucking life, dog. It changed my life. I was just like, man, like that is, I feel like ultimately that is what everybody feels. Because, we all get it. Not all cops, I will admit it. Yes, I know not all cops are bad, but one, shut the fuck up. And two, their position of authority is bad. That is a
Yep.
bad thing. They're choosing to become more than humans.
Yep.
That's their choice. And
Yeah.
and I can't back that. None of us want to back
No.
that.
No. Especially when people say blue lives matter. It's like blue is not alive. Being a cop
It's
is
not a
not a
life.
race. It's not a
Exactly.
human. It's a job. Just like stocking grocery shelves or working a call center, it's a job. You chose to be a cop. We do not choose to be whatever race or gender or sexuality or whatever. We do not choose those things. So you can't
No,
say that shit. It doesn't make sense. It's not right. It's not a thing.
no, no, it's not right. And man, I just been thinking about what he said every single day. I wish I remembered his name, but I know that he was so well spoken, he was so articulate, and he was angry. But he just transferred his anger to something like actual productive. Not saying protesting and everything isn't productive, but he is going to protest, and as soon as he's done protesting, he's not going to stop. He has that
Right.
momentum, and I think that's just that really changed my, I don't want to say my perspective, but that really brought a lot of the anger that I was feeling towards all this out of me. Like I wasn't as angry. I just felt more persistent for change. I have 13, 12 on my fingers because I do believe I don't fuck with cops. I don't like cops at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like hearing him explain that kind of it challenged me. It's just like, man, this kid watched cops kill his family and friends, but he can still say that to a cop. Like that's beyond me. That's crazy.
That's
Because
amazing.
if that kid can do it, then there's no reason that I can't do it. A black
Right.
man, 20. He's only 19, and that's all he knows, just anger and hate. And he can say that, and I guess I bring up this story because I just want to challenge everybody watching this or that's gonna watch this or gonna listen to this to just let that story sink in and just think. I'm not saying that give cops a break or anything, but I'm just saying, like, if you really have a heart full of hate towards the authority, then let's find use that as a productive way to change something. We can spray paint fuck 12 on every single window in existence, but like ultimately, what's that going to do?
Right.
He's using his anger to make a difference internally, and we all should be able to do that internally, externally, like whether it comes to education, like I said earlier, whether it comes to community, no matter what it comes to, like we all should be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, everyone has a right to be angry. It's what is happening and what has been happening for decades is not okay, and it's not right, and it does need to change. But just pure violence and anger isn't going to change anything. You need to actually think and act smartly and strategically to make these things change and happen. It can't just be all pure anger. Yeah.
It has to be thought through. It has to be strategic, and it has to be civil. Which actually brings us to the next bullet point. Protesting versus rioting.
Yep.
When it comes to protesting, it's my favorite phrase, which is civil disobedience. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We're still civil, but we are disobeying the order. We're disobeying what is how things are supposed to go because it's not right. And where was I going? Sorry, long day. It's 100 degrees. Half of my brain is like still a brain. The other half is a slushy. Basically, what I'm getting at is when it comes to like protesting, there's a certain way to do it. It has to be driven with. It doesn't have to be driven with anger. Like the anger has to be there because that's why we're doing the things we do. But it can't all be just like having your signs up saying fuck 12, screaming at a cop all day saying fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you stupid ass cop, fuck you. Because one, ultimately that's going to end up in tear gas and riot rounds because that has happened every single fucking day in Dallas, except for yesterday. Thank God. I'll shout out this group at the end of the video, but every single day they're all mad, they're on edge. We're all fucking mad. We're on edge. The whole country's burning. So a cop is like, hey, there's a protest going on. They're all fucking geared up and all they're hearing is a bunch of fuck yous and all sorts of shit. And then they're just like, fuck this shit. And as soon as someone throws the first round, then it's just fucking chaos. And us as protesters, we can't do anything. All we can do is run or get fucking arrested. Yeah. So like when you said earlier, there has to be like strategy and everything. It can't just be completely derived off anger. It's true, which is the difference between a protest and a riot / looting and all that shit. Riot should never be coming from a protest. It should never be the same thing. And it usually isn't the same thing. I can tell you from firsthand experience from this weekend, all the looting and shit were people that were confirmed not at these protests. I promise you. Everybody watching, all your friends that are saying, I want to support this, but the rioting and looting, like, no, it's two different ass things. Is it a bad thing that happened? I wouldn't say bad. It's unfortunate, but it is a bad thing. Or it's unfortunate, but it's not a bad thing. Because of all the cities burning, we finally got those. All 4 of the cops have a charge that killed George Floyd, and they're finally really delving deep, looking into the cops that murdered Breonna Taylor, the 3 cops. And and if it was just, I just firmly believe that if it was just peaceful protesting all over the country, then progress would have been delayed a little bit.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know about you.
But look at all the change that's happened in since forever. It's all been because of riots. At the end of the day, that's what has caused the change is had to come to riots. I mean, this country was founded on war and stealing land from other people. You know what I mean? Like I don't, the
Straight up.
people arguing that, you know, riots are wrong. What are the riots going to do? And it's like, have you seen what riots have changed in the history of our country? A lot of
Yeah,
things.
literally everything. Literally everything.
Yeah.
And it's easy to and this is gonna be a little bit of a call out. And it's easy for people to quote unquote lose sight of the bigger picture when all they are seeing is like the looting or the rioting or whatever. But that doesn't really give you the excuse to speak out against the protesters as well, because like all of us are out there all damn day in the heat or in the rain or whatever trying to make a difference, and then ultimately we still get met with just police brutality like every fucking time. Every single time we've gone out there, the cops just are just using excessive force. It's crazy in every single fucking city, you know.
Yeah.
And people, the people that just want to compare the two, honestly, can suck my dick because it's not the same. If people are really pressed about rioting and looting, then it's like what I said on Facebook the other day. Like, get out on these streets with us and hold these people accountable that are thinking about throwing a rock through a fucking glass window.
Yeah.
Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I was watching the news with Sam and Ava, who lives with us, and it was NBC News, and they straight up showed videos of cops attacking peaceful protesters with no instigation from the protesters at all. They even showed videos of cops or National Guard or whatever tearing a family out of a car that wasn't even involved in anything, and just, you know, exactly what you said, abusing their power, because they do have that power regardless if they abuse it or not. But like, innocent people, and I was just so, it sucks to see, obviously, but I was glad a major news source was showing these videos that everyone's been posting on Twitter and everything, but a major news source posting, this is what's fucking happening in our country. This is real. This is not okay. You know, they always try to twist the shit to fit a narrative, but lately it seems like they haven't been, and they've all been kind of unifying with all of us. You know what I mean? Which is crazy to fucking think that the mass media is saying anything that we would agree with, but they're doing it. I mean, even the Trump speech, it was on CNN live. People getting tear gassed for no reason. You know, like it change is happening. It's slowly, but I feel it happening. You know,
It's
regardless
definitely happening.
if it's little steps, it's happening, and it's only happened within, you know, like a week, and that's exactly why it can't just be a hashtag for the week. It can't just be whatever, you know. It can't be just there has to be more, and we have to keep going to help this change continue, or we're just going to fall back into the same thing. Sam and I were watching the Malcolm X movie, which I'm sure parts were dramatized, but some of the scenes they showed with cops and shit looks exactly what the fuck is happening now. And that happened, what, 50 years ago? And it's the same shit.
It is the same shit.
You
The
know?
only difference is there's no hoes and dogs.
I've seen videos with dogs. I saw a video of a dude who was zip tied, and this dude was sicking a dog on, like biting his arm, like dragging him around by the dog. And I was like, what the fuck?
Oh man, that's oh god, it's disgusting, dog. Ugh.
It's terrible.
It, it's so terrible. It's bad, and it 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 really puts a lot into perspective being out there. It really changes the way that I don't know how you feel about cops, but it really changes it in a weird way. At least for me personally, it's very it fuels my fire. I'm just like I'm trying to speak, and I got my ass whooped to be silent. So I'm gonna go back out there and speak again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of like what's been happening. Like, Dallas was met with tear gas and riot rounds, people getting hurt, people getting sent to the hospitals, you know, every single day since Friday.
Yeah.
And every single day since then, the protests have gotten honestly like bigger, more like more people, more leaders. They've gotten more efficient. And ultimately, like I was saying, yesterday's protest was perfect. It was great. It was immaculate. There was
Good.
no violence. There was no threats. No, like, I don't even think anybody felt anxious. I didn't feel anxious for the first fucking time being out there.
It's good.
And quick shout out this group. They're called Not My Son. They're based out of Dallas. They're church based, and they just kind of got a couple people together last minute on a Tuesday, and the word got out. They had 400 people, or not 400. They had it was like 300 or 400 people that showed up yesterday, and it was, dude, it was so good. They had the speakers. There was a guy running for Congress that was marching with us. We started at City Hall. We went to the JFK Memorial spot in downtown Dallas, and then they let people come up and talk their shit. They had a microphone. Everybody was going up. They said what they had to say, and we were not bothered. Then we marched back to the City Hall, and then they talked about what they were trying to do. Everybody supported it. They think they did another march outside of the curfew zone, and it's been great. That's like, I think the good thing that's come out of all the shit that people have been enduring is somebody steps up and they're like, okay, we can't just keep going out and getting fucked up by the cops every single day. There has to be some type of, like, I don't want to say order. There's got to be some type of
Structure.
What's the word I'm thinking of? Sean, quick help. Structure. Yes. There's got to be some type of structure, and I feel like that's going to happen definitely in every city. And once you have structured protests going on every damn day, then it just goes off more than that. Then you have a community of people that will do nothing but just help. Help people of color, help people of need, help, whatever. There's always like volunteer shit and everything, but like that's just I feel like that's just so hard to do. Like there's just so many of them, you don't know which one to do, but like the ones that are like out there when you're like in the hot sun with these people, when you're in the fucking rain with these people, when you're getting tear gas with these people, when you're getting fucking arrested with these people, then I feel like that makes you want to stand with them even more, especially when you see the leaders stand their ground.
Yeah, for sure. The ones locally, at least in where we live, have been very peaceful and been pretty organized. Randall Beavers, who was in this chat, spoke at both of them, and it was very cool. Very cool to hear people say what they have to say. And like what I've been trying to do is just learn, and whatever I can do to help, I try to do it.
And I promise you, Sean, like you and a lot of other people are doing a lot. You're doing so much to help. I mean, just this podcast alone helps. Just spreading awareness and listening is such a good thing, but taking action is a good thing as well.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to let you know, from friend to friend, like I understand that it's a predominantly Black or person of color issue, and I understand that that you can't feel what we feel all the time, but you have a good head on your shoulders, and you are smart enough, and you are passionate enough, and you are loving enough to know that, like, man, I'm never going to discredit what my friends of color are feeling, and I'm going to stand with you. I'm going to do whatever I can to help you, and you should just do that all the time, unapologetically.
Yeah. I may have been unaware of it in my earlier years, but in the last couple of years, I've definitely become more aware of, trying to be more proactive on those type of things. I've never been shy to speak out if, my friends were being fucked with in any way, shape, or form, but it's, I want to go beyond just my friends. If it's someone, I see out in the public, saying dumb shit. I mean, I have called out people for saying dumb shit who I didn't know who they were in public, but I don't know. There's always room to grow and to be better. So I'm just trying to be better. But thank you for those words. It's very, very kind of you to say.
For sure. Trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed. And I would just say, keep up all the momentum. Keep everybody that you see that's acting a damn fool accountable. If you gotta slap someone in the back of the head, then so be it.
Yep. Some of these conversations are uncomfortable, but they have to happen.
Oh, it's hella uncomfortable. Trust me. Losing a bunch of friends after all this shit going on, like it kind of sucks. I've had to sit there and just like, man, do I really want to unfriend this person? And I'm just like, nah, like fuck that. I don't really need this in my life. And
Yep.
sometimes like people deserve the conversation. Sometimes people don't, and it is what it is. You know, we're here for the greater cause, and if they're not going to stand with us, then whatever. We don't need them. Fuck them.
Yeah.
We'll all make a difference together, and they'll just fucking have to get used to it. The same way how we've had to get used to all this injustice and all this bullshit through our whole lives.
Exactly.
Time to turn the tables. Is that the phrase?
It works. I think it is a phrase that would work.
Yeah, it's time to turn the tables. And there's actually one more story that I wanted to share with you before I guess closing out or whatever. But so I won't go into extreme detail, but I know I wanted to talk about my personal experience with police brutality. But the first time I'd ever had anything happen to me from the cops, I was 15 years old. We were in a park smoking weed, just being dumb kids. Not, we were in this neighborhood park behind some houses, and I saw a flashlight. So I was like, my first thought was like, oh, it's probably the people that live there because we were being kind of loud, so they were probably gonna tell us to like be quiet. And like I think I was in like a bad mood or something, so I started to walk away. I was like, man, whatever, like I don't want to deal with this. So I started to walk off, and then all of a sudden, like I hear running, and I get tackled to the ground, and I hear, you think you can fucking run from me? You thought you can you think you can fucking get away from me? And I'm like, yo, what is going on? And like he starts putting my arms behind my back, and I'm just like, oh, this is a cop. I'm getting arrested. Okay. He's like yelling at me, cussing at me, and I'm like, yo, chill out, man. And then obviously like he put us back with that. And mind you, I was the only black guy. I was the only one that was handcuffed because I was quote unquote running away, but everybody else was just sitting, chilling, all comfortable and stuff. But my he was just belittling me so much. He was just like, he's like, you can it's not illegal to smoke weed, but it's illegal to have it. And I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, why are you talking to me like I'm stupid?
Right.
And then like my phone was ringing, and this fool literally takes my phone, answers it, and it's my homegirl. And he was like, "Oh, what's up? It's Kendrick. Like, come to the park, come smoke some weed, man." I'm just like, that is literally illegal. You cannot do that. Like, what the fuck? I was so pressed. And like ultimately, like he was like, "Why don't you call?" He's like, "Call some more of your friends. Let's see if we can get them up here." I'm like, "I'm not doing that. No." I'm like, I was like, "Call my mother. She needs to come pick me up right now." So she came, and like obviously she was pissed, but like that moment stuck with me forever. Like I was 15, I was a kid. And I'm like, man, this cop is like talking to me like a fucking jackass, like throwing me on the ground like I'm a fucking goddamn like UFC fighter. Like it was ridiculous. And like I think that kind of started my whole like, man, I really don't like cops, but whatever. But on New Year's Eve, this most recent New Year's, I got off work and I was about to go DJ in Deep Ellum. I don't want to get it too deep into the story. It's just kind of personal, I guess. But long story short, some shit was going on to where a welfare check was needed at my old house, and I saw a flashlight outside or whatever, and I knew they were coming, so I thought it was gonna be like 1, 2 cops or whatever. I was like, "That's a welfare check," and I opened the door, and I hear, "Put your fucking hands up! Put your hands up!" And there's 6 cops with their guns out. So I'm like, all right. So I put my hands up, and I immediately think this is it. Like it's New Year's Eve and I'm about to die. Like I'm going to get killed by the cops. My mom's gonna get a call. I mean, she was in Shreveport at the time, Shreveport, Louisiana. She's gonna get a call telling her that her son was fucking murdered by cops on the porch of his house for no fucking reason. And I was thinking, because a month before that, that's when unfortunately Atiana was killed in Fort Worth, Texas, by the Fort Worth police for the same fucking reason, for a welfare check. So, obviously I'm thinking, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna die. This is it. The one guy was like screaming at me. He was like, who lives here? Like, who's inside? And like, I'm like petrified. I'm like stunned. I'm like, I don't, I'm stuttering. And he's like, why the fuck are you stuttering? Like, do you not know? Can you not answer these questions? And like, I was just afraid. I'm like, man, this guy's gonna scream at me. I'm gonna like sneeze, and I'm just gonna get fucking iced, like right here. But eventually, after screaming at me and asking me all these questions, they finally told me to sit down. 5 of the cops went in the house and checked on whatever. And then they came out. They're like, everything seems to be fine. Just, be careful. And then dipped. And that was it. And I was just like, what the hell was that?
That's so
Like
fucked up.
that, like my life flashed before my eyes. I was just like, man, like, why was there 6 of them? Why were their guns out? Why was he cussing at me? Like, why was he yelling? Why do they have to like yell at, like, it was just so many questions. And like, I can tell you right now that like, when people are saying like, why don't you just comply to the cops? Like, if he had complied, and like, I'm telling you, we're fucking scared. It's scary. I'm shaking, and then they're just like, why are you? They're just, it's an intense ass situation. So it's easier said than done, obviously. But I share this story with you because that shit that scarred me. I was pretty fucked up for like the rest of January. Like I didn't have a good time. I kept seeing cops, and I was just like thinking about it. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get pulled over, and this fool is gonna already have his gun out, or just some shit like that. And the reason I bring this up is just because like a lot of people, I never went public about this until last week, and this is definitely my first time speaking about it, I guess like live. But
Yeah.
I didn't talk about this shit for months. It's June, and this happened in January. There's a lot of people go through some type of police brutality, and sometimes we talk about it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes there's no point to talk about it because we know that no matter what happened, they're gonna get away with it. Like I was talking about the kid on the bridge, him and his dad got beat up by cops, and all they did was get let go. They just fucking went home after getting their asses whooped. Like, what kind of shit is that? Like, it sucks because, like I was saying, there's no accountability. So then
Right.
you just get manhandled, or you get abused, or you just get emotionally abused by these cops, and then you just gotta fucking live with it. And like, being a person of color, like, you have to live with that shit forever. That
Yeah.
fear sticks with you forever. It just stacks on. It just keeps stacking on. And then when seeing all these black men and black women and people of color and even people of non-color just get senselessly killed by the police, you just can't help but just be fucking just terrified all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I used to flip off cops when I was younger. Like, now I'm just like too afraid to even look at them because I feel like if we make eye contact, I'm gonna get pulled over, and then I have to go through this mental routine. Like, okay, I gotta get my wallet out. I gotta get my insurance out. I gotta fucking make sure I don't have anything that looks like a weapon. Like, I gotta put
Right.
my hands on myself. Like, why do I have to? I shouldn't have to do that, Sean. Nobody should have to do that. But
No.
it sucks that that is the way we are programmed because of it, whether it be, personal traumatic experience, whether it's just traumatic seeing all the shit going on, like it sucks. I can tell you that most of your people of color friends have gone through something like that, whether it's just a traffic stop or you name it. We go through something that brings us that fear.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because that's why it's so important for all of us to really band together to try to change things because I'm tired of being scared, Sean. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. I I want to I want to get pulled over and call a cop a dickhead for wasting my time without getting killed. But I won't be able to do
Yeah.
that anytime soon. Maybe not even ever. Like, I would just like to not be scared.
Yeah.
All of us don't want to be scared anymore.
Yeah.
And all we can do is band together and, push and resist and fight back, whether it's physically, whether it's internally, whether it's like economically, whatever, so be it. But it just has to be done. Change has to happen because this just sucks, man. It sucks.
Yeah, like I said, I can't even imagine that. It's no one should feel that way at all. Period. At all. Just to be scared to be alive because of who you are. That's awful. And like you said, like both of us said, change does need to happen. And thank you for reaching out to do this. And in a way, you didn't push me to do it, but it made me think, and it did push me to do this. And I'm very glad that you wanted to do this, and it happened. You got to share your stories, and hopefully people can continue to learn and continue to help and continue to fight, and we can see change, and you can wake up one day and not have to worry about shit like this anymore. I sure hope so. As you know, any of my friends who feel that way, I hope you one day you can wake up and never feel it again, because that is so it makes me sad, so sad.
One day, one day, hopefully. But honestly, the support and just seeing everyone fighting for the cause definitely helps. Makes me feel it makes me feel better. You know, at the end of the day, we still wake up in the skin we have, but it's just it feels good knowing that everybody collectively wants change for not just me, but for every person of color. I did it. It was eye opening. You know, I thought it was just like an internal thing that I'd have to deal with for the rest of my life, but just seeing everyone speak out and seeing people reach out, seeing all these people protest and everything, it's just it means the world. It absolutely means the world. And you know, we have a long. I thank you guys. I thank all my non people of color friends. I thank you guys for fighting with us. And I'm just warning you, it's a long, 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 long ass fight. And you know, you're in it for the long run.
Yep.
You're not invited to the barbecue just yet, but you know, keep it up. Maybe we'll we'll figure something out.
For sure. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say?
I'm just fucking around. In closing, spread awareness. Hold your friends accountable. Hold everybody accountable. Donate. Donate to, donate to Black neighborhoods. Donate to Black educations. Give back to the Black community. Spread awareness, just be mindful of all the shit that's happening. And for the love of God, do not ever forget these past 7 days, everyone. This has been a crucial point in history, and it can't just end at this. It has to keep on going. Because remember, once all this shit's done, I still wake up Black every damn day. And I would like to just wake up and just be a person.
Yeah.
And we can, we'll be able to do it. I believe in us. Also, keep an eye out. We as in Jonathan and the rest of the Begotten guys. In case anyone didn't know, I'm in a band called Begotten. Don't listen to our music. Just kidding. We're okay. We'll be dropping a shirt, and all the proceeds will be going towards they're called D-Up. They're a ministry based extracurricular type deal. They basically go to the schools, and any kids that are having troubles with teachers or just staying out of trouble, like consistently going to detention, especially the ones that have like single mothers, they go out of their way and make sure that they have father figures in their life. And being, an only child with a single mother, that shit is important. That helps build real careers or real life paths for these kids. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. I'm tired.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. I may have known who designed that. It may have been me.
Oh yes, you might. Yes, his name is Sean. You might like him.
I know William Barber posted if any bands need designs that are going to go to charity, he will donate his time for free. I would also say the same. If any bands need help with anything, I don't want any money if it's going to charity at all. I'd be glad to donate my time to help as well. And I know a lot of people commented. I kind of ignored them as far as talking about them, but I wanted Kendrick to be able to talk. But I read all of them, and thank you everyone for watching. And a lot of people
comments. Am I missing something?
A lot of people show love, but my wife just said shameless plug. Wow, I did offer free service. I did offer free services, so come on.
Shameless plug. That's all right. Hey, it's all right. At the end of the day, we still gotta eat. You gotta do your thing.
Oh no, I'm saying I'll do it for free. I don't care.
But still, I mean, you still gotta eat. That's important.
Yeah, true. A bunch of people showed their love for you. Austin Archie said it. Defonce. A bunch of people. I'm not gonna go through them all.
Shout out Austin. Shout out Lorna Shore. He's a good shore. A good drummer. Shout out Defonce. He's got a big forehead. I love you, Defonce.
Oh my god!
I'll read through these comments later, but
Sam said hi as well, and she said she'll yell at people for free. Hit me up, my wife Sam.
Hello Sam, thank you. Yes.
Also, a lot of people said shout out to Lego, which I agree. Shout out to Lego.
Oh yeah, shout out Lego. Lego. That's some real shit. I wish I could talk shit about all the people that have been making me mad about all this, but I'll save that for another time. But
that's fair enough.
You know who you are. They wouldn't be watching this, but you know who you are.
That's true. They probably are not watching this.
Sure, but for real, thank you so much, Sean. Seriously, thank you so much. You didn't have to do this, but you did, and I hope that somebody takes something good from this at the very least.
Yeah, if one person takes something good from this, then I feel accomplished for sure.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Awesome. So, thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you guys. Everybody be safe. Take it easy. All that good stuff.